President Ray and Judy, past RI presidents of Rotary International, directors and past directors of RI, trustees and past trustees of the Rotary Foundation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my wonderful Rotary family globally. First of all, I would like to take the opportunity to say thank you to His Worship the Mayor of New Orleans, who was speaking before me a short while ago, for the wonderful and warm hospitality and the warm welcome that has been extended to all of us since we arrived in this very, very special city of New Orleans. It has been observed before that Rotary is an organization which makes it possible for ordinary individuals to do extraordinary things in life. It is a credit to the magic of Rotary that an ordinary African like myself, from a remote Rotary club in the middle of Africa, can stand here today in New Orleans and speak to the largest gathering of Rotarians from all corners of the globe in the year 2011. For this singular honor and very rare honor, I owe my thanks and gratitude to RI President Ray Klingensmith. This is a man that I've often described as Rotary's second African president after Jonathan Majabe. Thank you, Ray, for giving me this rare opportunity to share with his august gathering my thoughts on Rotary's role in Africa, a continent for which I know you hold such great passion. Several hundred years ago, one of the early explorers from Europe who ventured out to Africa described Africa's three major challenges as poverty, ignorance, and disease. Now, as I stand here before you today, hundreds of years after that early European explorer visited Africa, I cannot possibly deny that in terms of humanitarian needs, poverty, ignorance, and disease continue to challenge many parts of Africa, in varying degrees, of course. As many Rotarians will no doubt be fully aware, Rotary made its first footprint in Africa exactly 90 years ago, when the first club on the African continent was chartered on 1st of July, 1921. This was the Rotary Club of Johannesburg in South Africa. Today, 90 years later, Rotary in Africa has grown significantly, but in my opinion, not sufficiently. Let me give you some statistics. As at 30th of June 2010, that is last year, Rotary in Africa had grown to approximately 1,094 clubs with a membership of 25,880 members across Africa. This translates to, on average, just about 24 members per club. Now, when you consider that the population of the continent of Africa now stands at approximately 1 billion people, 1 billion people, a Rotary membership of just under 26,000 Rotarians are just too few to tackle the continent's vast challenges. Comparatively few in numbers we, the Rotarians of Africa, stoutly supported by the Rotary Foundation and funded by an ever-generous string of international cooperating partners, have in the last 90 years, in my humble opinion, performed admirably well on the continent. In the year 1985, that is the year I joined Rotary, Rotary International, in conjunction with WHO and the Center for Disease Control of the United States, launched what at that time looked like a pipe dream. Rotary launched the fight against polio and promised the children of the world a polio-free world by the year 2005. That is Rotary's centenary year. At that time, 1985, the African continent was one of the most polio-afflicted parts of the world. Today, 25 years on, polio has literally been kicked out of the African continent. The job is not finished because we still do have a few pockets remaining in northern Nigeria and a few isolated war-torn areas, such as the borders of Angola. Now, quite clearly, the eradication of polio has been Rotary's most significant gift to the children of Africa in the last 25 years. And with the virtual eradication of polio on the continent, Rotary in Africa has turned its attention to the establishment of polio rehabilitation centers. In Malawi, for instance, this is one of the 4 countries in my district, 9210. With the support of the Rotary Foundation and Rotary clubs worldwide, a comprehensive polio rehabilitation center was built in Lilongwe, the capital city of Malawi. The center provides vocational training for polio victims who could no longer walk, but could be trained in various skills, such as tailoring, metal fabrication, embroidery, and woodwork. Graduates from this center go back to their villages after training to practice their newly acquired skills and to earn a decent living. You heard President Ray make reference to Rota. Reach out to Africa. In March 2008, then RI President Wilfred Wilkinson initiated the launch of the Reach Out to Africa initiative. We call it Rota for short. Rota was an inspired idea which was approved by the RI Board of Directors and is focused on some of the most critical needs of the African continent. Over the years, phenomenal strides have been made across Africa to advance projects in 6 areas of Rota's focus. And there have been 6 of them. Let me mention them. 1, water management. 2, health initiatives, including HIV/AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis. 4, literacy and education. 5, economic empowerment. Children welfare. And finally, disabilities. In Africa today, there are countless stories of water wells that have been sunk in water-starved and crowded urban centers, as well as remote villages throughout our continent. Safe and clean water has been made available to hitherto deprived families. There are numerous stories of nutritional programs, projects helping orphans to attain education, for instance, wheelchair distributions, programs intended to address global warming issues,